Now we're going to talk with something about fitness, right? And she's sitting in the lobby here, and I'm really excited to have her joining us here. Just want to make, here she comes. And Carolyne Prevost, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing. Is it Carolyne or Caroline?
Carolyne, you got it right.
It's Carol. Okay, I always I like to check in advance, but we didn't have time for that. Thanks so much for being here. And I think the word to describe to say to you first would be congratulations on so many victories in your life.
Thank you.
I was last night talking with a friend of mine. Then on my show earlier today, I was mentioning you were going to be here, and just describing some of the things that you've accomplished to him. He was like, how old is she? It's like, well, she's 29 now, but like at 23, you had already accomplished so much.
Yeah, I've been playing sports since I was 3 years old. So basically like 2 or 3 sports every year since then. So they're pretty busy.
Well, let's go back in time a little bit, Carolyne, and maybe you can. So recently, you had some victories at the CrossFit Games, and we'll talk about that. But let's go back. How did sports start for you?
I was pretty athletic just right from the get-go. I started walking pretty early, and then my dad was an athlete his whole life. He played baseball and hockey, and then I grew up with 4 sisters, so we're 5 girls.
Wow.
2 sets of twins, 5 girls under 5 at one point for my parents. Just pretty nuts. But I grew up playing most of my sports with my twin sister. We started off in gymnastics. She didn't stick around as much as I did in that one. And then I picked up hockey around the age of 5 or 6. Same thing with soccer. And I've played both of those 2 sports all the way until this past year. Actually, this was the first year since I was 5 years old that I didn't play soccer. And then, played on different boys teams growing up in Sarnia. And then
right.
and then after that, when I was a teenager, I switched over to the girls it's called the PWHL, Provincial Women's Hockey League.
Right.
There wasn't a team in Sarnia, so then I played in a team in like Strathroy in London, and then that's when I started getting picked up for different teams like Team Ontario and the Team Canada under 18. And then throughout this, I was also playing soccer in London at that point for basically the top team in the country called London Supernova. And then I had also picked up another sport, an individual sport this time.
Sorry, I'm laughing because it's like, and then, and that's good. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
So when I quit gymnastics when I was 9, it just was too much work for my parents. I went to a French school, and in order to be at the elite level that they wanted me to, I almost had to switch to an English school, is what they wanted me to do, so that I could get picked up before school or after school and go training, because you're training 25 hours a week. And
Right.
that was just too much. I mean, I come from a big family, and French is very important to me, and I wasn't going to switch schools to an English school. So then I picked up a new sport, Taekwondo, which
Right.
is like a martial art. And then that went well also. Had some championships in that, and I got to compete in 2 junior Pan American championships. So that was just traveling the world again for that. So it was kind of juggling those 3 sports at the highest level that I could as a teenager, and then playing every sport at school, whether volleyball, basketball, badminton, track. So
Badminton.
yeah,
Did I hear that?
I love badminton.
Oh, well, I used to play badminton. I went to LSSAA. My father was actually one of the co-founders of the Sarnia Badminton Club. Yeah.
It's a great sport. It's a great sport. Yeah. So it's I've been doing sports my whole life. So I'm not playing sports, I'm watching it.
and no sign of slowing down, obviously. The Sarnia Journal sort of labeled you as Carolyne Prevost is making a serious bid for the title of best all-around athlete Sarnia has ever produced. You got to feel pretty good about somebody saying that about you.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I've worked hard for. I've never specialized in a sport, and I think kids these days, they specialize so early in sports, and they don't even know what they could be good at. And I think it's really important for especially young kids to learn different skills in different sports. There's a lot of stuff that translates from one sports to the next. I've had
Yeah.
so many great experiences because of the sports that I've played, and now I've found myself in a new sport, CrossFit, which actually rewards not being specialized and rewards all around fitness.
Right.
So that's why I was able to kind of transition pretty well into that, just from all the background in every sport that I had.
Do we pick a sport like because, well, I know I'm good at that sport, so I think I'm good at that sport, so I could start with that, and then I could grow in that sport and become great at it. Is that why we do that? Maybe rather than explore other sports and go, well, I wouldn't be as good at that, so I don't know if I would enjoy it. Like,
I think people invest. They think that they need to invest all their time into a single sport for a chance to make it at the top level.
right, fair enough.
And I like to get the break. Like mentally, I like the break. Physically, I needed the break from another sport. Like I played hockey during the winter, and then once that season was over, well, it was almost springtime, and here comes soccer.
Right.
And then I had one sport typically that was all year round. So when I was young, it was gymnastics. Then it was Taekwondo. Now it's CrossFit. But the change is good for me. I like the different challenges mentally and just physically. Your body needs a break.
Sure.
You see a lot of overuse injuries just from people playing the same sports all the time, and I think a lot of people quit because they get sick of it.
Right.
So for me, I don't know. I like trying new things and seeing what I can do.
All right, let's touch on a subject here that I know I've read some things that you've spoken out about in the sports world, and we're going to talk about male versus female and the fairness in the sports, because I know you had that experience when playing women's hockey, and that organization is now disappeared, but a new one I believe is coming
Yep.
up. I remember when that sort of started coming to life to people that well, the women aren't getting paid enough to play hockey specifically, and why do you think that is? Is it do people prefer to watch men play hockey? Is it more exciting, or what were the reasons that you share me your personal opinion on that?
Well, I think it's definitely a different game than the men's game. We don't have the hitting aspect that they have. But if you look at the Olympics, the most watched event at the Winter Olympics is the female hockey game, Canada versus USA.
Yeah.
Millions of people tune into that, more so even than the men. So the popularity is there, but we just lack the resources. I mean, a lot of people don't even know about the league that existed, the CWHL, the Canadian Women's Hockey League. We're not. Our scores aren't broadcasted anywhere, like on TSN or on Sportsnet, like consistently.
Why?
Our games aren't showcased regularly for people to actually follow our teams, and then then can go to the games. But most people that actually do go to the games, they end up liking it, and then what they want to come back, but they don't see it enough. So it's not in the media enough. I mean, we're fighting for like we're having to buy our own tape, and this is at a professional level. It's just like we get given, I think, one stick a year. I remember when I was at University of Wisconsin, when I played hockey there, we were given 20 sticks a season just because you're part of the university.
Right.
But if you're playing for a male junior C teams, junior, I don't even know, or a midget team, you're given more than what we were given at the professional level. So I definitely think there's a lack of resource there, and just support. So
is it because and I don't know, I haven't done extensive research on this, but is it just not big enough business for the networks to talk about you and broadcast the score? Like, why is there a lack of that? What's occurring that is saying, the women hockey isn't as important as the men's hockey? I'll say it. Like, why is that happening?
Well, I mean, I think our sport's evolving and getting better very quickly. We lacked for a lot of years, coaching staff, and we had female athletes. We had to switch to boys hockey growing up because there wasn't enough, good quality coaches in the women's game. A lot of times there was just volunteers, and so the off ice training has changed a lot. So the actual speed of the game has drastically changed over the years. It's one of the fastest growing sport in Canada or North America.
Right.
for hockey. So the level is getting better. So I think for a while maybe it was the level, but now I think it's getting better, and it's just we just need to get people in the seats to see the game, and then more support in terms of
Yeah.
money and visibility. If young girls don't see us playing hockey, well, they don't even know that we exist, and they don't have any goals to strive to
Right.
play professionally. Whereas a young boy can turn on the TV and watch NHL and right away have a goal of playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
For us, the biggest thing that we play for is to go to the Olympics.
Right.
But we're trying to fight right now. So we have a league, kind of a weird year this year. So our league folded last year because we weren't going to have like a sustainable league, but we formed a new association called the PWHPA, the
Yeah.
Professional Women's Hockey Player Association. So we're trying to fight for those resources right now, and we're working alongside Hockey Canada, the OWHA, the NHL, to kind of everyone come together and form, a league that we deserve, and that we feel that we deserve, and that so that young girls can have something to play for.
Well, and like you mentioned in that conversation, to be able to see like you're a representation, like, oh, I want to be like Carolyne, and it does come from that, if she can do it, I can do it, and all that. It creates that interest, I guess, right? And I think it's important. We all want to. I'll refer to firefighters. I was doing the firefight at the college the other day, and I said to a colleague of mine, I said, there are so many more women becoming firefighters now, and I think that's great, right? And the colleges encourage it. It's like, if that's what you want to do it, right? Yeah, there's differences in our bodies are built differently, right? In certain situations, one might have advantages than the other, I guess. But at the end of the day, you should be able to do what you love and get paid for it if you go to that level.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, if you just look at women in sports, the last few years, it's growing a lot. You look at the U.S. soccer team and what they did at the World Cup, and as soon as they were done, they've been having records in attendance for their games. For the longest time, they were struggling getting a few thousands people. Now they're getting their stadiums filled, and that comes from people watching their game on TV.
Yeah.
And then you had girls. I've watched videos of young little girls after that U.S. Win. They're playing in the streets, and there's videos of them, kicking a ball against a wall. So it's really cool to see young girls finally idolizing girls and not always idolizing male professional athletes. So that's neat. You look at what Bianca's doing for the sport of tennis right now.
Oh yeah, let's talk Bianca.
You look at Brooke in golf. Marie-Philippe Poulin in women's hockey. You have all these great female role models in sports. So I think it's starting to happen in terms of visibility, and we just need to keep this, keep riding the wave.
Yeah. Do you think, and probably I would think you would agree that social media being in existence, has that had a positive contribution to making it more aware?
Absolutely. I think social media is great. You can see a lot through there. And I think anytime you get to see female athletes and female sports, it's going to benefit the growth of the game.
Yeah. So in all of this, you're an 11-time champion. I've read, you've got all these things going on, and you're busy. And oh, wait a minute, what about life? Because you gotta work sometime. You're a teacher as well, right?
Yep, I work in a French high school, Gaétan Gervais in Oakville.
Okay.
So this is actually my 6th year teaching there, and this semester I have a mixture of grade 10 science, grade 11 math, and a fitness class. So
Right.
I typically teach math, science, and like phys ed classes.
So
it's pretty busy.
So you teach, and by the way, I want to go do that sport now. What about family and personal life? Do you get what's that support? I'm guessing it's been a pretty positive support network.
Oh
for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I mean, my family, like my parents had to get up pretty early for all my practices. They've had to drive me all around Ontario, all around Canada. We've traveled everywhere for different tournaments. And what's pretty neat is, they're sharing their time too between trying to watch me play and then trying to watch my sisters play also, because they played sports too
Right.
growing up. At one point, I think we were playing on 5 different soccer teams. So it was pretty difficult, I think, for them to juggle all that. But I've had huge support. Even like my twin, when I was in school, if I had to miss school for a tournament or something, she'd tell me exactly what I had to do, everything. So we
Did
had
she go to class for you?
we had quite the system going on.
Oh yeah. You better not let any of your students see this interview, right?
No, but no, it's great support, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do what I want to do without them. I mean, my parents put me in everything that I wanted to do. I got an opportunity to do so, and I think that's something that I'm fortunate for.
Yeah.
Not every kid gets to have those opportunities. I got to do different hockey camps, soccer camps in the summer, so I think I was put I was put in the hands of the right coaches growing up, and I was able to really maximize my development. And I think that's attributed to the support that I have at home from my family,
Yeah.
and just having the right coaches and teammates and everything like that.
Right. Well, it's certainly important I always say, surround yourself with the right people and
Absolutely.
with family, because we don't always get to choose the family, right? So, but if they're on board with it, that helps for sure. Okay, what about this? You're talking about all this stuff that you've accomplished, and it's wonderful and amazing, and you make it sound so easy just by talking about it. And I know that it's obviously not. When the times that come along for you and you want to say, or have you ever said, I just want to quit, I don't want to do this. How do you push through those moments?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. You have your ups and downs, especially mentally. Like right now, I'm training a lot. I'm often like on the ground, just dead, tired after a workout. And there's days that I don't want to do it. There's days I'd rather just stay at home and watch TV.
Right.
But I don't know. I think I've always had something in me that just wants to push through difficult times, and I want to see what I'm capable of doing. I have been driven since I was young, and I have multiple goals. And as long as I am hungry for all those goals, I think that I'll always keep going. I have a difficult time in quitting, or when I start something, I want to finish it, and especially if it's something I know I can do, and whenever I put my mind to it. So I just try to work hard, and if sometimes I can make a team, or I can accomplish something, and sometimes it's not part of the picture, and that's part of the process too. You're not going to always win, and I've had to learn over the years to also get cut, and to just
Got to learn how to lose, right?
Gotta learn how to lose. When I was young, my Taekwondo coach would make fun of me because I was a bad loser. But I think over time, I began to learn a lot from that, and it made me a better athlete, and it made me realize that things aren't easy and things aren't to be taken for granted in any sport that you do or things that you do, and that you have to keep working hard because there's someone else trying to do what you're trying to do, and always chasing you. So yeah.
What about tennis? Do you ever see any inspiration to do that now that maybe you've seen Bianca do her thing out there?
I played once in a while with my dad or with my twin sister, sometimes at the park growing up. But
All right.
I think I would need to be maybe a little bit taller for that. I'm shorter. I'll let Bianca handle that one.
Yeah. Taking this back into the classroom again, as a teacher, I'm guessing that a lot of your philosophies that you apply when training, has the sports helped you in your teaching career as well?
Yeah, I think that there's so many things that help me in terms of translating from sports to teaching, in terms of learning from mistakes and stuff like that, and time management, and being able to, because not everyone learns the same way, and I think it's the same thing when you play on a team sport. Not everyone's going to learn the same way, and you're going to learn from different coaches, and you can kind of take positive aspects from everyone and try to create something yourself. But yeah, I think I just try to instill into students more resiliency. I think that these days, more so I think than I think when I grew up, there's sometimes kids that want to give up very easily. So to try to get that resiliency, that grit into the students is difficult, is challenging. But that's something that I want for them to do, because there's going to be tests and stuff that might not go as well, but I think if they just are persistent in their efforts, that good things will happen.
Yeah. Well, I hope you realize that through all of these things that you've done, and especially with your recent victories at the CrossFit Games, you got to know you're having a positive impact on not just young people, but some young ladies out there who are maybe still haven't taken the action. They're just thinking about it. You feel that?
Yeah. I mean, it's great to see that I have like that that influence on girls or boys in terms of goals and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm just going about my business and doing my own thing. But if I can help someone else get started, that's awesome. And any type of help that they need, I'm there for them.
That's great. Do you ever get back to Sarnia much?
Not too much. I'm actually going to be back in a couple months, November 16th. I think that the Le Club Joliette is putting together it's just beside my old high school, actually. That night they're putting together a ceremony for me for the sports. But other than that, I don't go home too often. I'm pretty busy here in Toronto, as you can see.
Are you?
I teach during the day. I'm playing hockey at night and training for CrossFit. But usually on holidays, and I'm home every time. And the odd time in the summer, I might come by.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. You're really quite a joy to listen to and talk with, and I appreciate you not knowing me to allow me to bring you on my show and share your part of your story. I'm sure we could probably do this for an hour just on you, or maybe we'd have to do a 12-month series. I don't know, but I do respect your hard work and what you've accomplished, and there are a lot of people in Sarnia that are grateful for you and what you've done and what you're showing back and giving back by your example, that the victories you've accomplished. So thank you so much for that, and keep me posted on what's happening in the women's hockey and everything. I'd be more than happy to help
we
out
actually
there or whatever.
We have actually our first showcase. So we formed with our league different training centers around Canada and the States. And next weekend, not this upcoming weekend, but the 21st weekend, there's actually going to be 4 games. We've formed 2 teams in Toronto, a team in Montreal and a team in Calgary, and everyone will be in Toronto for it. It's going to be played at Westwood Arena Saturday and Sunday. And it's going to be great hockey. You're looking at essentially a half to 3/4 of the rosters being the Canadian Olympic team.
Nice.
So good hockay.
And it is good hockey. I remember we had the women's hockey here in Sarnia a couple of years ago, and it was great hockey.
And it's even better than that now. It just keeps getting better every year, the competition. So so if people want to come and watch that, support us there. So
fantastic.
Come next weekend.
Carolyne, thank you so much, and congratulations again on all your successes, and looking forward to having you back again and giving us an update on things.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.